This video is going to give you a quick overview of the life, influence, and impact on psychology that Carl Jung had. If you're like me, his last name can give you a bit of pause on how to pronounce it. From what I could find online, Jung is the best way to pronounce or the correct pronunciation of his last name, but I have seen and heard many other things online and throughout my time in grad school. Born in 1875, Carl Jung was a Swiss psychiatrist. Jung was a prominent figure in the field of psychology, and likely some of this was because at one point he was a protege of Sigmund Freud. However, that relationship did at one point end, and from what I can gather, it did not end on the best of terms. Jung attended the University of Basel, where he earned his degree in psychiatry in 1900. Then, in 1902, he earned his PhD from the University of Zurich. When it comes to Jung's personal life, this has been described as turbulent, as he had many affairs with his wife over their years of marriage. In 1961, Jung passed away from unspecified causes at the age of 85. That's a quick overview of Jung's life. But now, let's turn to look at some of his theories and the impacts that he had on the field of psychology. But first, my name is Keegan. I have a master's degree in counseling. I make videos like this to help you better understand psychology, counseling, and mental health more generally. When it comes to Jung's beliefs related to psychology, he believed that all beings were religious. And for him, a large focus of his work related to helping people increase awareness of the subconscious, specifically when it came to dreams and fantasies. As a result, he was a pioneer in dream analysis. That said, this video is going to focus more on some of the work that Jung did that still has some influence today. Some of this will include his concepts of introversion and extraversion, some of his archetypes, and the collective unconscious. So let's begin there with the collective unconscious. Jung believed that we all have a conscious and a personal unconscious that is unique to each of us based on our own experiences. But he also believed in a collective unconscious that we all have and share. The collective unconscious, in his view, is something that all humans share and that stores the archetypes that we all share. Archetypes are images and thoughts that have universal meaning across cultures that show up in dreams, literature, art, or religion. Jung believed that we all have the same archetypes. Let's look at a few of his more prominent archetypes. First is the persona archetype. From the Greek word for mask, our persona is what we show the world. It consists of the parts of us that we feel we can show to make a good impression, or the things about us that we want to be a bit more public facing. In other words, our persona is the public image that we want to show people that obscures or hides that we feel others will see as less acceptable. Second is the shadow archetype. This archetype is said to be from our animal past and is considered the darker side of our ego. It represents the parts of our personality that might be considered negative or inferior. The shadow archetype also includes the things that all of us have that we don't like about ourselves, but that we want to deny. So in many ways, the shadow is something that we try to hide. But Jung believed that the shadow appears in that we may project it upon other people around us. Next, we have the archetypes of the Anima and the Animus. By nature, Jung believed that we are all bisexual, and that by the influence of hormones, we are either born male or female. And he also recognized that there are different expectations for men compared to women. He believed that Anima represented the female parts that are in the collective unconscious of all men. The Animus, then, is made up of the male parts of the collective unconscious of women. He believed that these archetypes were responsible for our love lives, and Jung believed that both men and women have an anima and an animus. Next, let's talk about the self archetype. But first, if you're enjoying this video and finding it helpful, please help me out by giving a like and subscribing. When it comes to the self archetype, Jung believed this is the most important of all the archetypes. He believed that when we are born, we are all born whole. But through living and socializing, this causes fragments. His belief was that what we hear from others and what we observe about ourselves can then help us come to a conscious understanding of ourselves. Through this, when it comes to what we observe about ourselves, as well as what others say about us, when these match, his belief was that we would consider ourselves then normal. However, if our observations about ourselves, as well as what we hear from others about us, are at odds, we'll then consider ourselves to be abnormal. Jung believed that the goal for the self archetype was that we wanted to express every part of our personality equally. As we continue on with some of Jung's other ideas, we next come to individuation. He believed this was the process that we all go through to become more of ourselves. He believed that we all need to grow as people. which includes experimentation and working toward higher levels of purpose. When it comes to Jung's work, there are some other influences that we still see around today. One of those is the Myers-Briggs type indicator. This categorizes personality based on Jung's work and beliefs of personality types. Two of Jung's personality types were introversion and extraversion. He stated that introverts prefer their own thoughts and enjoy being in the inner experience of their feelings and dreams. Extroverts, on the flip side, prefer being out in the world. For them, being around other people and finding activities that will help support this is what they find fulfilling. So that was a brief overview of Jung and some of his ideas that we still see around today. I hope that you found this video helpful and interesting. While you're here, make sure that you check out some of the other videos on my channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.